Hello and welcome to the KB6. My name is Glenn and today we're quickly going to go through the differences between cast iron and competition kettlebells. So let's go through it. So what are the differences between competition and cast iron kettlebells? Well, let's just take a quick look at the obvious differences. This is a pretty standard looking competition kettlebell, whereas this is a pretty standard cast iron looking kettlebell. But what are the differences really? Well, let's take a look at competition kettlebells first. Competition kettlebells tend to be steel. They're all the same size, but through the range from 8 to 48, handle size is the same and the size of the kettlebell is the same. Competition kettlebells are color coded. You'll tend to have less grip fatigue playing a role in your training if you're using competition kettlebells. You will require more space when using two competition kettlebells, as they're quite large. Competition kettlebells tend to have a bigger base. The shape of the handle tends to be more rectangular. Now let's have a look at the cast iron kettlebells. Cast iron kettlebells tend to be iron. They change size through the range. So from 8 all the way up to the biggest kettlebells, which can be over 100 kilograms, they are drastically different in size and shape. Cast iron kettlebells are not color coded, typically. There are those that have sort of color coding rings around the bottom of the handle, but typically through the range they're not color coded. When you're using cast iron kettlebells, you'll probably experience greater grip fatigue, especially as the weight increases. Obviously that's going to have something to do with the weight that is increasing in your hands, but crucially, and something to consider, is that as the kettlebell gets larger and heavier, so too does the handle thickness, which will play a role in your ability to manipulate the weight, especially if you're someone with smaller hands. They can be easier to work with two bells at the same time because they're not necessarily quite as large as the competition kettlebells. The cast iron kettlebells have a smaller base when they're lighter. The last and one of the most important differences between the two kettlebells is that the cast iron kettlebells tend to have an angled handle or angled horns, or they've been described as V-shaped grips. Now this does play quite a significant role when you're manipulating the kettlebell for things like goblet squats, farmer's carries, cleans, Turkish get-ups. It changes the way that kettlebell feels in your hands. Now if you'd like to know the pros and cons of why you might select one of those kettlebells over another, or why you might build out a collection of competition kettlebells versus cast iron kettlebells, then hit this button right here and I'll take you through it. But those were the basic differences between the competition and cast iron kettlebells. I hope it was helpful, and if it was, hit the like button, press subscribe, check out the next video in this little series, and share this video with somebody else that is trying to build out their kettlebell collection. I'll see you at the next one.